Hello there, this is Amanda. So, welcome to the garden. Welcome to my wonder wall or my Scaevola wall. I grow in here. So, in today's video, what we're going to be doing is looking at the Scaevola. We'll have a quick update, you'll see how it's growing, and we will look at some of the properties. Okay, so where do we begin to tell the story? Anyway, so this is a Scaevola, and it's useful as you can see, a hedge plant. It has like a creeping habit, and it will grow depending on the direction of the sun. It will grow in that direction. So these get the afternoon sun here, and as soon as the sun gets to a particular point, it's growing towards us. So I've recently just cut it all back because it was growing to at least here, and they've been planted over there. So all of this growth was moving forward. So I just cut it back just to open out this area a bit. So I planted this from a cutting. Oops, disturb a bee there. So yeah, a cutting, just smaller than that actually, about this. So I got a cutting, brought it home, and planted it. And 2 years later, we have several parts of the garden that I've been planting this in. It's a fast-growing plant, so it's useful to have as a hedge if there are areas that you want to try and, not conceal, but cover or provide some screening. It's a nice plant to have because it does have these. It's got these lovely flowers. It's a pity it's not scented, but I'm not going to complain to you, Scaevola. I'm appreciating you, but you've got these pretty flowers that would be lovely, I think, in a pressed. There's an abundance of them, and these. Let's see the seeds. After the flowers come, we get these seeds, and there's an abundance of them, as you can see under there. So they normally grow by the sea, and it provides a good windbreak. It's salt tolerant, so it does quite well, and it usually grows a lot shorter. But I guess with this soil, we've got clay soil here, then these ones are doing quite well. So let's go and take a look at the others. And these particular ones, as I say, when the sun comes over, at the moment the sun is in over here, and as soon as it comes over, we've got these plants, these branches trying to, get out from under, so they're moving forward. So again, I have to cut them back a bit so that they don't overtake. They're trying to overtake the planting. And this papaya. Look at the flowers. Gorgeous. Take a look at my other video where I talk about the papaya. So this is, it's like a wheel, spinning wheel, the flowers, but they're a lot larger. So It'd be interesting to see the fruit from this one. Okay, so let's go and look at the Scaevola that I first planted, and we'll have an update on there. And it's from the one cutting that I took. I put it over here, and this is the great-great-grandfather of Scaevola. So it's produced all those generations, and it's grown tall. I've allowed it to grow as tall as it wants to grow, because I want to see, what is the tallest. I mean, as I said, when I've seen them at the beach, they've been quite short, or they may have been cut short. I think some of them have been cut short, but most of them seem to have a low growing habit, and they creep on the floor. And so I've allowed this to grow really tall, but every now and again when I cut back, I will then replant them in different areas. And I've done that with this one. Let's just come over here. So I'll plant them at the front and the back of the garden, as I say, because they're good at shading. But I recently just did some cuttings and put it here, and these are establishing themselves. So what you do is you take a cutting and you strip it to kind of like 3 leaves, and then you just pop it in the ground. And as I say, this is a clay soil, so it seems to like this soil, even though it's used to like a sandy soil as well. And these are growing, and so what I want is for them just to grow and cover this area. Because this particular tree is a clemer tree, and I need to cut back these branches. So what happens is, this is my neighbour's fence, and luckily for us, he doesn't mind me growing. He hasn't said anything about me growing all these years, but I do like to respect the fact that this is his fence, and really you're not supposed to grow anything within 4 feet of a person's fence. So really I should be back here. I mean, that's how we've always done it in my garden in London. So anyway, so I just maintain this. I've planted other clemer cherries, and what I did was I planted a few so that it's away from his fence. So if ever he decided, because this tree is planted bang smack in the middle, but technically speaking, he could cut the main bit of it, and it could kill the plant, the tree. And then all of this, see, it's all kind of grown. So what I'm doing is just cutting it back, and as I say, I've planted, there's 3 here, and I've got 1 here as well, and I've got some more in other spots in the garden, so that if I do need to just cut back a lot, I mean, I think these branches would have to go. Yeah, if it was cut there and then maybe here, then I'd still enjoy the tree, but he wouldn't have to he has to keep cutting it back. He doesn't want it growing on his side. And anyway, so I've grown them, the Scaevola here, and they're doing well, so I'll just keep an eye on them. And then I guess within a few months they should establish themselves to a certain extent. And I put this one here as well. This is a trumpet tree, that's the local name, but not the Latin name, and it has white trumpet-like flowers, so that's nice. So Scaevola. Okay, I've also planted, they grow practically in most places. I planted it in a little bit of limestone and a bit of soil, and I put it in front of my son's window, and now it's just like it's almost taken over. So I planted it in a very restrictive thing. So let's go and have a look at the other one I've got growing here. And I've used this again specifically because there was a gap in this space, and I wanted coverage, and I wanted quick coverage, and this spreads all over the place. So I just keep this bit straight, and it's just grown in that direction, which is fine. And there's about a 4-foot space for it to grow across, and I go on the other side because that's a path, and I just trim it. And then the other place I've grown it is I'm growing it at the, do you want to have a look quickly? I'll quickly go to the very front. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this one. So this, let's go on the other side. There was a curve, it's like a basin basically, but there's a raised bit around there's a raised bit, as I said. So what I wanted to do was, I thought Scaevola will be good, and we'll just grow it all the way around. And then there are plants that need semi-shade, so I was thinking of putting some of my okra here, because I've been running out of space on the other side. So this will be fairly undisturbed. Not the other space is disturbed, but this will be, you get a bit of shade. I'll plant the seeds, or maybe even some sweet corn. We'll see. But yeah, just to clear it so that what's hanging down now, then I can use that space and see how we get on. What do you think? Yes? Good idea? Is it a good idea? Yes, it is. So that's this one. This one's doing really well. And as I say, it just kind of creeps. And then what it will do is lay down, wherever it's touching the soil, it will lay down the roots. And then we've got some seeds that have dropped. They normally need a particular type of environment to grow from seed. I've never grown it from seed, just from cutting. So I couldn't tell you how long they take to germinate, but it's it's growing up and out, and it's done what I've wanted it to do without me actually realising. Anyway, let's quickly move on. So as I say, I like the curve. That's what I wanted, curves and, in the garden, not kind of straight, hard lines. Come here. Hey! Where you going? So I've grown it again along his fence over there, and I've grown it along here. So we've got pockets of holes in our fence here where it's a hedge. So I put some here. We've got some here growing, and these will just spread themselves and grow up, which isn't a problem for me. And we've got the Mexican sunflower behind it. So wherever there's a space, I've put some of this Scaevola just to see how well it can grow. So that's it. It's got, as I say, it's got some really nice, useful properties. These ones here, I just did a chop and drop. And if anything does catch, then that's a bonus. But this one's growing fairly well. And if you see where it started from, because they, as I say, they do spread like this one. This one's spread out from its main central point. And here. But yeah, come on. Cole, come. Come on. So we're gonna go. And yeah, that's a Scaevola, but it's got some useful properties, and I really like having it. And again, it's one of those plants that, yeah, it's the leaves can be used in dyeing, and I've dyed. It gives you a very pale green colour. I'm going to experiment a bit more, because when you boil the leaves, they go like a really deep indigo colour. So I'm quite excited about working with the Scaevola in that way. Okay, so we've got a lot of wasp action there on the flowers. So I will see you again soon. Take care.